welcome back to Afri and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be discussing a Nigerian family living in Germany, Essen, and how their 3 kids were taken away from them a few days ago. Now, I'd like you to listen to this story, and afterwards, please do leave a comment in the comment section, because there are different opinions in the African community. Some people say, yes, it was right to take the children away, and other people just believe, no, don't criticize the family. It can happen to anybody. We should help the family to get their children back. A few days ago, some neighbors noticed that a little child was playing on a balcony, and he was climbing on the railings. So they were really scared that the boy would jump over and injure himself. And they kept yelling at the child, no, don't climb, don't climb. And they alerted the police and the fire brigade. In the meantime, the boy was not just climbing the railings, but he was also throwing down things from the balcony, like a rug, a blanket, some bags, toys, different things really. And so while waiting for the police and the fire brigade to come, they kept, shouting up to the boy, don't climb, don't climb. And they were very scared. Someone even went to knock on the door. Other people were ringing the bell. Nobody answered. Now, when the police and the fire brigade came, they quickly put a ladder and climbed up to the little boy. And they discovered that this boy had been locked out on the balcony. And because they suspected that other children could be in the home, they forced their way into the home, and they found a 5-year-old girl who was locked in a room. And the room, according to them, was really messy, not just untidy, really messy situation, like trash all over the place, that kind of description. And in another room, they found a 2-year-old child that had been fixed on a child's seat, that is, tied up. They didn't say exactly how, whether he was strapped or whether they used rope. However, the boy was fixed on this child chair, and this child chair was also tied to the heater attached to the wall, the radiator. So there was no way the child could get out of the chair, and there was no way the chair could move. Doctors were called in. They found out that the children were okay, just thirsty. And while they were there, after about 2 hours, the father came. But that did not stop them from taking away these 3 children. And the parents are most likely going to face criminal charges for that neglect and abuse on those children. Now, the parents are like 32 and 45 years old. So they are really at a mature age where they should know exactly what they are doing. So it's not a case of saying very young parents. Something I forgot to say too was that every room in that apartment had been locked up. All the rooms had been locked. So all the children were locked up in a separate room. The little boy was locked in on the balcony, and there was no way the children could get to each other. So I've heard some people say, yes, I also leave my child at that age to rush to the shop. I mean, a child of maybe 5 or 6 or so can take care of the younger ones for a short period of time. But in this case, none of the children could get to each other. They were all locked up separately. This is not about condemning the family. We can condemn their action. Yes, what they did was wrong. It doesn't go anywhere, not in Europe, not in America, not in Africa. It was simply wrong. You don't treat children this way. But most importantly, we can learn out of this. Learn vital lessons so that we don't make the mistake. Because here in the diaspora, a lot of immigrants African families too included, everybody is hustling for money. You want to work, but you have these little children, and there's no way you can leave your children alone and go out. In this case, when the man went out and came back, he said he went shopping. But you have to plan. Even when the man and wife are working, they have to plan their hours so that the children are not left alone or neglected. But very often here, I've seen it happen in many cases where women just leave their children. The man is working, the woman wants to also work, and the children are being left alone for some time. And many of us, we don't want to pay that money for someone to come and take care of the children if the children are not in the daycare. And I understand that also, you know, a lot of Africans, we don't earn so much. So when you think that you have to go and work so hard for 1 hour, and then maybe you have to give half of that money to somebody who was just sitting there taking care of the children, it's not motivating at all. But please, don't leave your children alone. That is one thing that people do, and you say it went well, it went well. It only goes well as long as it goes well. One day something can happen, and then the shit has really hit the fan. Before you know it, you are left with a criminal case, and your children are taken away from you. It is understandable that a parent left the child alone to rush and buy something 10 minutes or so, but not go for hours, and not locking children up in rooms and tying children up. That is not acceptable. It's just so unfortunate that in the quest for money, we often neglect these children, when actually it's the whole essence of earning this money not to benefit the children. So why abuse the children in the process of getting that money? Why leave your young child alone and go and work? Young children that cannot take care of themselves. Most importantly, they cannot even react if there's an emergency situation. They can't even react. They don't know how to call for the ambulance, call the police, or even run to the neighbors. Such children should not be left alone on no account. So please, let's learn out of this experience this family has made. For them, this advice would be too late. But others can learn out of this story and realize how fast it is to lose your children when you make a careless mistake like this. Even this is more than a mistake, because if they had just left their children, it wouldn't have been that bad. But the energy, the measures they went to, locking those children in different rooms and tying them up, is what has made this case to be very difficult for them now. If they had just left them in the sitting room and gone to the shop, it wouldn't have looked this bad. Bad enough, but not this bad. So we can learn from this story so that we don't make this mistake ourselves.